Listen to Kovai Vani. Enjoy the podcast by our enthusiastic young residents. Kovai Care is the best place to retire.
Namaskar, Vanakkam. Kovai Vani welcomes you to yet another podcast. This one is about life and its various stages. We, Revati Bhaskar, Radhika Sridharan, and Krishnan, felt it would be nice if we went back in time and took a helicopter view of life and flew till we reached our current age. Remember, this is just a glimpse, a few observations, and some tips. We have done this in first person plural pronouns as in we, third person pronoun as in he or she, and in general terms, taking liberty with the English language, of course.
Forever growing up. A life is born. It is God's way of telling you He loves you and wants more of your genes to help make the world a better world. From the mother's womb to her warm and emotion-packed embraces, to the tall shoulders of her father, children grow faster in their first year than at any other time in their life. Their growth is like peaks and valleys, and they go through some dramatic physical, emotional, and social changes. They strengthen their bonds with parents, relatives, and friends, and the pace with which they learn new things is just amazing. Their preschool and early school years are joy, frustration, wonder, pride, and sometimes fear, but altogether a different world experience. We are going to fast forward a bit and get into the juvenile, adult, and senior years, as this podcast is about growing up and lifestyle happenings that make, shape, and determine the way we spend our lives.
A strong start for life. 7 tumultuous years begin at 13. You want to change the world. You discover a new kind of love where the heart beats faster. Heartbreaks and tantrums are a fact of life. A person of 40 will never understand the decision-making process of a teenager, even though she has crossed that stage earlier in her life. Puzzling and bewilderment are adequate descriptions of the teenager behavior process. Well, let's begin with what psychologists refer to as dramatic changes taking place in the front part of the brain, with huge activity of cells that makes a million things fight for recognition in the decision-making process. Peer pressure, the ability to hold multiple thoughts, not fully comprehending the reward versus risk conundrum, creates some fantastic results as well as some disastrous ones. Teenage is the bridge between childhood and adult years. Childhood is already a sweet memory. As you cross the bridge, dramatic changes happen in your life. The bridge is made of wood. As you cross, it burns behind you. The mood swings and stress you experience as you go through puberty can shape your brain to determine the person you will become. Our brain wiring becomes more stable. We are able to consider consequences. We start saving money. We drive closer to the speed limit. These are important years as they influence our long-term thinking and actions and have a bearing on the later outcomes of our life. As parents, we stress on academics, but maybe we need to focus more on their emotions and development of their personalities.
Young and wise, the pace quickens. Discover yourself in your 20s. Dream big as great new ideas spin in your brain and you want to change the world and, of course, find a new you. Find projects that you care for. Find your purpose and start developing skills that will help you go forward and also how to deal with stress and anxiety. This is the time you experiment, discover what you're good at. A time for trying out new things, finding new opportunities, and start deciding about the best career path for yourself. And you cultivate marketable skills. You start building a network of friends influencers, and advisors to help you achieve your goal, both personal and professional. Start for setting financial goals. Learn to start managing your money. Push outside your comfort zone. Your 20s and 30s are decades where you should be taking risks and seizing opportunities. Opportunities can bring money, but also give you experience and new insights. This is a period where you should push yourself. Maybe we make mistakes, but diligence and persistence will strengthen your mind to face the future more resolutely. This is when you find balance and steadiness.
The dugout break. The referee has signaled half time, as this is when half of your life is spent, and you can pause and decide how you want the rest of your life to be. Start looking more carefully at what and how you eat. Enjoy your food without guilt and get a good balance of diet and exercise. Prepare yourself for the next part of the marathon called life. Look at yourself more carefully. You have done the tough bits. Found a job, found a spouse, or decided to go it alone. Kids, house, prepping for later life. Time to start thinking about it. Most probably, your career is on a firm path by now. It is time to nurture relationships and start spreading kindness, love, and care for the less privileged. In short, free up your emotional capacity and find time for yourself. Here is when we feel we know as much as we need to, but life is learning. You are lucky to be in the middle of it all and enrich the young, not so old, your generation, and your future peers. Two things that will challenge you as later on doing many things will be really challenging. Get out of your comfort zone, maybe paragliding, maybe a new art form, maybe a hiking trip, whatever. Your bucket list is now. Never think you are too old to do things that may seem a little bit different, but stop at a reasonable point. You are not a wacky teenager. Walk or cycle to work. It's both practical and enjoyable.
The best is ahead. We are starting this with a cliche. Growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional. Major life changes take place now: retirement, children leaving home, physical and health challenges, loss of relatives and friends, etc. etc. We need to learn to accept and overcome challenges and fears and find new things to enjoy, staying physically and socially active and feeling connected to your community and loved ones. A lot of seniors enjoy good health, the open secret being a good balance of diet and health, managing stress, developing hobbies, and engaging in social and community activities. Another cliche here: you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Not true at all. These are the years that knowledge, wisdom, and experience come into play, and you start rediscovering yourself. Learning to cope with change will reduce stress and increase the joy of living. Laughter is the best medicine, said Reader's Digest, and they were not too far from the truth. If you look outside ourselves, meet and interact with children and the younger generation, we find joy and new meaning to our lives. Some starting points: community involvement, joining a club, volunteering, helping social causes will add meaning and purpose to your life.
Find peace in nature, prayer, and travel. Stay connected. Loneliness is a deadly friend of old age. Keep it away. Spend time with at least one person every day. We know of friends who have more friends now than when they were younger, and it shows on their smiles. A recent Swedish study found that exercise is the number one contributor to longevity, adding extra years to your life, even if you don't start exercising until your senior years. And get plenty of sleep. Have fun. These are the best years of your life.
Remember, we saw this from a helicopter and just added a perspective and put it all in one place. Sorry, in one podcast. Wishing you all the very best in life, thanking you, and signing off for Kovai Vani.
Thank you and stay tuned.